That breaking news happening right now in Iran, where Israel has confirmed its military just carried out some airstrikes. They say the targets were Iran's nuclear development site and locations in and around the capital. Now, here's a look at some of the images coming out of Iran following that attack. The Trump administration has quickly confirmed the U.S. was not involved in this operation. The attack comes amid escalating tensions over Tehran's rapidly advancing nuclear program. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the strikes were necessary to eliminate what he called an imminent threat if Iran is able to build nuclear weapons. According to sources on the ground, this marks the most significant attack on Iran since its war with Iraq in the 1980s. Iran has threatened retaliation, but so far there are no reports of counterattacks on Israel. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, now the U.S. ambassador to Israel, he posted this update tonight from the embassy in Jerusalem, saying he will remain there all night as they follow the situation. We'll have much more on this developing story throughout the night and have updates tomorrow morning. We're also following breaking news tonight on the president's use of the California National Guard in response to protests against his immigration policies. A federal judge has issued a temporary restraining order against the move tonight, directing the president to return control of the state's National Guard to California Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, the order does not take effect until noon tomorrow. It said the president ordering the Guard to deploy without Newsom's request violated the 10th Amendment and exceeded his statutory authority. Tonight's ruling comes ahead of a nationwide protest against the Trump administration plan for this weekend. We'll have much more on how local law enforcement is getting ready for that coming up in just a few minutes. Chief Meteorologist Scott Colbert now in the Weather Center tracking this rainy, drizzly forecast for at least the next couple of days.
Likely so. Yeah, a lot of us have seen rain at this point, but it's been so hit or miss on and off, and that's probably going to be the case again tomorrow. Live radar right now shows most of it's light, but at times you've probably noticed there are a pocket or two of some more moderate rainfall. That's going to be the case as a lot of this continues pushing off towards the north. Very spotty, very hit or miss. Most of it light in nature, not necessarily a big deal for us in the River Valley, where we saw that rain initially move through late afternoon into earlier this evening. It's starting to kind of taper off just a little bit out there. Let's talk about tomorrow's forecast. Not an all-day steady rain, but enough of a chance at pretty much any point throughout the day. The rain gear, not a bad idea. Now, same situation in the River Valley. Couple of rumbles of thunder out there. Not expecting much in the way of severe weather. Temperature-wise, it's going to be a lot like today. The gray, the cloud cover, going to keep us just a little bit cooler out there. Now, some of these rain chances are going to linger into the weekend. We think it's going to be less coverage, but rain chances nonetheless. The new 10-day forecast right here in just a few minutes.
The fact that they're choosing rioters and criminals over American law enforcement is absolutely absurd. They've picked crazy over normal. I'm a big fan of order over chaos, and I think the president is absolutely 100% right to step in.
That was Arkansas's governor weighing in on the protest against ICE raids in Los Angeles and President Trump's decision to send in military force without a request from the California governor. Peaceful protests against the Trump administration are scheduled for this Saturday all across the nation and right here in Arkansas. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis shows how locals are getting ready.
Civil unrest continues in Los Angeles, California, as federal agents ramp up immigration raids. President Trump says he's ordered hundreds of National Guard troops and Marines to enter the city to enforce peace. Arkansas Governor Sarah Sanders says she supports the decision.
In Arkansas, we would never allow to take place what they're letting go on in California. But if we needed help, the president would be one of the first people I would call.
That situation was escalated by bringing in the National Guard.
Carrie is a community organizer who asked that we not use her last name for safety.
Interfering with local law enforcement and police who are trained to deal with protests. I would expect for there to be more organizing happening across the United States.
And more organization is underway. The nationwide No Kings protest scheduled on Saturday to protest against Trump's military birthday parade and decisions made by the administration includes multiple protests throughout Arkansas. Carrie has been coordinating the protests set for Saturday in Fayetteville.
What we're looking for is our elected officials to do their job and uphold the Constitution and hold elected officials accountable.
Fort Smith Police Chief Danny Baker says FSPD will be present at the Fort Smith protest to provide support and help keep the peace.
We want to make sure that they have a successful, peaceful opportunity to air their grievances and protest. It's a guaranteed constitutional right. But we're also not going to allow things to get violent or property be destroyed.
Covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.
Meanwhile, Walmart releasing a statement to 5 News tonight that Christy Walton was tied to this advertisement in the New York Times encouraging this weekend's protest. Christy Walton is the widow of Sam Walton's son, John. In the statement released tonight to 5 News, Walmart said the advertisements are in no way connected to Walmart and that Christy Walton does not serve on the Walmart board or play a role in the Bentonville-based company's decision-making. Here's a live look now over the U.S. Capitol, where the House of Representatives voted today to approve cuts proposed by the Department of Government Efficiency. The cuts total nearly $9.5 billion and were overseen by Elon Musk before he left the Trump administration. Cuts target several foreign aid programs and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Residents and local leaders, meanwhile, in Fort Smith, raising concerns to federal leaders about another budget proposal that could impact national parks all across the country. The 2006 federal plan calls for defunding hundreds of national park service sites, shifting the cost and responsibility to state governments. In Fort Smith, Mayor George McGill sent a letter to Arkansas Senator John Boozman and others urging them to fight these proposed cuts. In it, he says the site is vital not just as a landmark in Fort Smith, but to the city's economy, its culture, and connection with tribal nations. Carolyn Spear with the Fort Smith Museum of History shared similar concerns.
Can states sustain that? That's a question. I don't know. It might not be possible. And if it's not possible, then we're losing more than a place. We're losing a piece of history. We're losing economic impact. We're losing tourism dollars. And that affects everybody in the city, not just one site.
We reached out to 3rd District Congressman Steve Womack for a statement. He says he greatly appreciates the president's input and that the budget is ultimately just a request. He says he values the Fort Smith National Historic Site and is committed to making sure final spending bill reflects the priorities of his district. Greenwood family met with Arkansas Senate delegation to advocate for pediatric health care programs. 3-year-old Dean Cox was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis just days after he was born. He and his parents met with Senators John Boozman and Tom Cotton in D.C. this week to talk about the vital role of Medicaid in their lives. We spoke to them ahead of their trip. Out of pocket, Dean's medication cost $30,000 a month, but private insurance and Medicaid make it all possible.
We are going to DC to talk to these policymakers and these lawmakers and tell them, like, this is the kid that you're affecting when you make decisions regarding Medicaid. It's his life. Like, it is whether or not he and I are going to be able to outlive our kid. So we're going to talk about that and to advocate for that.
The Children's Hospital Association advocates are also talking with policymakers about ways to address other issues like the doctor shortage and mental health programs. City of Sylum Springs now offering a new recycling service for the city's businesses. It's focused on glass recycling. Right now, the free pilot program is only focused on businesses, but city leaders are hopeful it'll be eventually offered to residential customers as well.
Glass is the heaviest recycled material, right? So when that glass goes in, it's hard to break down. It doesn't break down. So what we're trying to do is alleviate the pressure from the landfill, recycle as much as possible, and we found a new commodity to recycle, and we want to push that out and can grow it and see what we can do with it.
Program, by the way, officially launches tomorrow. They'll be out visiting with local business owners in the coming weeks to gauge interest in using this program. Well, the Razorbacks are now in Omaha for this year's College World Series. They hit the field earlier today for practice ahead of the opening round. 5 News Sports team is in Omaha as well. They pick up our coverage now, looking ahead to the Hogs' quest for the College World Series.
Welcome into Charles Schwab Field here in Omaha, Nebraska for the 75th edition of the Men's College World Series here in the Cornhusker State. Of course, as all of you well know, in less than 2 days, the Arkansas Razorbacks will take on the LSU Tigers in their first game in what is the game of the weekend. But this won't be the first time these two teams have faced this season. The only two SEC squads left in the NCAA tournament met in the penultimate series of the regular season down in Baton Rouge. A 3-game series that saw the Tigers take the first two, outscoring the Hogs 18-7, but falling to the Razorbacks in the finale 7-4. However, while that series is done, there was clearly unfinished business left between these two. As LSU head coach Jay Johnson said earlier this week, I felt like this was inevitable, whether it was going to be game 1 or the finals. Well, it is game 1, and Arkansas is ready.
I feel like we were going to face LSU at some point in this next week and a half or so why not just make it the first game and get it out of the way.
You got two SEC schools playing each other, and they're both very talented, and I don't know how there's going to be enough seats here on Saturday to get them all in there, because there's going to be a lot of red here and a lot of purple here, and I just hope it stays calm in the stands a little bit, because it could get crazy.
First pitch for Arkansas and LSU will leave the mound at 6 p.m. on Saturday, and I guarantee you it is can't miss TV. From the College World Series here in Omaha, Nebraska, I'm Alex Stewart.